What's up, Raider Nation? Buckle up, because what just went down over the last few days shook the core of our defense. Big time. And out of nowhere, a bombshell drop that could completely reshape the future of this team. Picture this. We lose a key piece of the secondary right at the start of training camp. And suddenly, one of the most dominant pass rushers in the league is being linked to Vegas as a potential addition. Sounds like a movie plot, but this is real, and it could change the Raiders' trajectory this season. Today, we're diving into the behind-the-scenes of these developments, breaking down how they impact the roster and what could happen if all the pieces fall into place. So hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications, because you do not want to miss what's coming. This past Saturday at Allegiant Stadium, safety Lonnie Johnson Jr. suffered a serious injury that left everyone at practice holding their breath. He was trying to bring down running back Raheem Mostert when he collided head-on with Max Crosby, one of our defensive captains. It was a scary scene. Johnson had to be carted off the field, and shortly after, the news came in: fractured fibula. He's going in for an MRI to get the full scope of the damage, but the early word is that he's going to be sidelined for a while. And even though he wasn't locked in as a starter, Lonnie was battling for a spot in the rotation and had a solid shot to contribute in certain defensive packages and on special teams. At 29 years old, with past stints on the Texans, Chiefs, Titans, and Panthers, he signed with the Raiders this year on a one-year, $1.6 million deal, hoping to prove he's still got juice in the tank. Now the big question is, can he recover in time to make a push? Or will the Raiders need to look outside the building for reinforcements? We all know how crucial secondary depth is in any defensive system. And with new DC Joe Woods trying to put the puzzle together, a loss like this definitely messes with the plan. That being said, this opens the door for younger guys on the roster like Isaiah Pola-Mao, or maybe even some under-the-radar rookies. But it also sets off alarm bells in the front office. If the right veteran with solid value pops up in the market, this might be the perfect time to make a move. The thing is, this injury doesn't just affect depth. It puts heat on the entire defensive structure, especially now that the team is trying to build a new identity under Antonio Pierce. And speaking of identity, there's one name out there that could completely change the face of this defense: Micah Parsons. That's right. Word is the Cowboys' elite pass rusher is in the middle of a serious behind-the-scenes drama that could blow up any minute. According to Logan Ulrich of NFL Rumors, Parsons is reportedly frustrated with Dallas over a lack of progress on his contract extension. And get this, sources say things have gotten so bad that Parsons has already asked to be traded. And here's the kicker: the Raiders have been mentioned as one of the potential landing spots. On top of that, a trade proposal is already making the rounds behind closed doors. The deal being floated would send 2 first-round picks, 2026 and 2027, a second-rounder in 2026, and edge rusher Malcolm Koonce to Dallas. In return, Micah Parsons would rock the silver and black and line up across from Max Crosby, potentially forming the scariest pass rush duo in the entire NFL. Of course, right now this is all just speculation. The Cowboys are officially saying they're not moving him. But we know how this stuff works. Once the relationship between a player and team breaks down, something's got to give. And in this case, cashing in for draft capital might be smarter for Dallas than handing over a record-setting deal. Make no mistake, Parsons won't come cheap. We're talking about an all-pro with 4 straight seasons of 10-plus sacks, 2 years with over 100 QB pressures, and an unreal level of explosiveness that can flip a game in one snap. Since 2021, the guy's been a straight-up wrecking machine. At 26, he's entering his prime, both physically and technically. Now let me ask you, can you imagine a defense with Parsons on one side and Crosby on the other? That would be a nightmare for opposing quarterbacks, especially in a division that features Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert. Of course, there's the money factor. GM John Spytek already gave Crosby a 3-year, $106 million extension this year, and stacking another elite contract at the same position could squeeze the cap space. But if there's a shot to turn this roster into a legit contender, this might be it. Beyond the tactical impact, adding Parsons would also send a powerful message. Having 2 alpha dogs like him and Crosby collapsing the pocket would skyrocket the confidence across the board. Linebackers would have more freedom to read and attack. The secondary would have less time to cover and more chances to force turnovers. Joe Wood's system thrives on generating pressure without sending extra blitzers. And with those two up front, he'd have all the flexibility in the world to mix up looks and tailor coverages to each opponent. But it's more than just XS and OS. Bringing in Parsons would be a statement to the entire league that the Raiders are ready to throw down with the AFC's heavyweights. It would be a message to the fans, the media, and most of all, to the locker room. We're here to win right now. And yeah, the draft capital is steep. But ask yourself, how many players coming out of college over the next 3 years have even a remote chance of becoming the next Micah Parsons? Probably none. So if the front office truly believes in what Antonio Pierce and the squad are building, this could be the move that pushes everything over the top. Of course, there are still plenty of moving parts. The contract talks, the Cowboys' stance, Spytek's willingness to give up high picks, and most importantly, the cap space. But one thing's for sure, the name is on the table. And where there's smoke, Raider Nation, this might be fire. It's wild how fast things are shifting behind the scenes in Vegas. In just a matter of days, we've seen the defense take a hit with Johnson's injury, a major hole open up in the secondary, and now this blockbuster possibility involving one of the league's biggest game changers. All of it shows the front office is locked in, looking for answers, keeping tabs on a market, and searching for moves that could speed up this rebuild. Now I want to hear from you. What news hit you the hardest? Do you think it's worth giving up all those picks for a guy like Parsons? And if you were in the front office, what would you do about this hole in the secondary? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because your voice matters. And it's this kind of back and forth that makes Raider Nation one of the most passionate fan bases in the league. If you dug the content, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, and share it with fellow fans who bleed silver and black, just like you. Because around here, we ride with this team through every moment. And if there's one thing I can promise you, it's this: just win, baby.